and I want to move into, so we've talked about fear a little bit, and then the other element of your book is about creativity. And I really loved how throughout the book you shared reminders, you shared stories, you shared why creativity is so important, right? And one of my favorite quote, probably, and I actually told somebody this quote yesterday, and they were like, "Ooh," because it was such a juicy way to write this. But you said, and you're talking about creativity in the book, and you say, therefore, it is of paramount importance that what we think is of the most emotionally nutritious nature if we are to have a happy and creative life. And I loved that, the most emotionally nutritious nature, because most people don't even eat a nutritious diet. So even to have nutritious thoughts is something that's like, is not something people most commonly do. So in creativity, it's such a big topic, but maybe let's start. What does creativity mean to you, and who is creativity for?
Well, to answer the second part, creativity is for everyone because we are born like that.
Yeah.
There isn't a child who is born who's not going to be creative sitting on the floor and doing something, making a big mess, or it's a mess to the parents, but to the child, it's incredibly creative. So creativity is for everybody. Creativity is even for animals who are creative. If you've ever watched a crow take a stick and put it into a hole and get something out. So they're more creative than we think. And so what does creativity mean to me? It simply means creativity, I think, is really an expansion and production of your own potential, whatever that is, whatever form it may take. It does, and that means any profession of any kind can be creative. Creativity does not mean someone who just holds a brush, a pencil, words, or whatever the art forms are. Creativity is not just an art form. Creativity is the thought process and how we live.
Yes. And you say that in the book about, we're creating all day, right? We're creating, even if we're doing the laundry, right? Trying to fold it in a certain way or wedge it into the drawer so it's very neat, whatever, the simplest of things we can be creative in. And you think about things that people do at their home to I don't know, save space or, oh, I need something to do this. So I went to the hardware store and got a pipe and, whatever somebody might do. Creativity is everything. We're doing it all day, every day. And what I found about myself actually too, is as an adult, wanting to expand my creativity has been, I think as an adult, sometimes hard to do because I'm doing something new and I'm a beginner at something, right? Where I'm used to being good at whatever I do, right? And I talked about this on the show a couple of years ago. I did a dance competition, a 6-week dance competition. And I danced when I was younger and done throughout as an adult, dance classes, at the Y, let's say, right? But I really was interested in learning how to do Latin dancing. I wanted to learn how to do tango, variations. So I was in this 6-week dance competition. Each week you're partnered with somebody new. It's very stressful, right? Because everybody's working. And on top of this, you have to practice and learn this dance. And, and so we had our first competition, right? Because you're actually competing in front of people. And our first one was big. There was probably 200 people there. And my partner and I completely messed up. We started on the wrong side. We were totally off. These people are staring at us, right? The lights are shining on us. And I remember I was so mad after that because I'm we knew this, we completely messed it up, right? But we knew this. And I remember after that one of my friends was there and she actually said to me, "Oh, I can't believe you did this. I would never do something like this." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because I would never want to be bad at something. I'm not willing to be bad at something." And now I know not everybody wants to be bad in front of a large group of 200 people, right? But that really stuck with me after that whole dance experience because we went on and, I actually ended up getting 6th place out of 15 people. So I was very proud of that because I was, again, not, it was all new to me, but my willingness to do that and also seeing the other side of that where somebody had no willingness to try something new, that I still remember that because I remember in my mind, I was like, your life must be boring then if you're not willing to try something new. No matter what that is.
Oh, you brought up so many important points there. It's first of all, one thing that came to mind first is one of the joys of getting older is, at least for me,
Yeah.
I love making a fool out of myself. Cause, I mean, I don't do it on purpose, but if I do, I'm so free. I don't
Yeah.
care. It's a great
Yeah.
feeling. You don't care anymore. But so it brings me back to my childlike self, where kids don't care if they mess up
Right.
before a certain age, before they get conscious about things. They just try things.
Mm-hmm.
And in the very fact of your having done that competition, and whether you did well or didn't do well in your own mind,
Mm-hmm.
you did something wonderful and were a success completely because you did it
Right.
right there and then, right
Right.
there. Doesn't matter, sixth place, first place, whatever. You did it and somebody else didn't.
Right.
You know? So you stepped out of your comfort zone. And yes, it's very difficult for adults to try something new because we are so judgmental on ourselves.
Yes.
We've got to do this as well as we do our career, which we've spent 30 years doing,
Right.
by the way, you
Right.
know.
Right. And
Nobody
in six
remembers
weeks I should be, yeah.
Yeah, nobody remembers that this doesn't happen in 5 minutes or 1 minute or
Right.
60 seconds.
Right.
No, we want it now. So, yes, it's our own big fat ego that stands in the way of just trying something new and being an utter horror at it. But
Yeah.
that's not the point of the doing something new. The doing something new is for our own fun, our own creativity.
Yeah.
If we put a non-nutritious thought in, like, I'm really bad at this and what are people going to say, blah, 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 we miss our whole life. It's
Right.
like a kid refusing to take the next step forward because maybe they'll trip and fall. Well, then they're never going to get anywhere.
Right. Well, right. And, you know, years ago, I was in a coaching program and and this has always stuck with me. The coach said, you don't see a bunch of people crawling around on the floor because they never learned to walk, right? They kept walking and then they would fall and they would get back up again. And I think with that experience with the dance, like I was horrified. I was so horrified afterwards because we had messed up. I was embarrassed, you know, all of these things. But my friend saying that to me, it was like a checkpoint for me where I was like, wait a minute. Yes, I can feel all these things, but I did this. I got up here and I did this. And that confidence in being willing to do that and just be like, oh, well, after that, it could only go uphill, right? After that, I was like, oh, well, here we are. Here we're going to do it. And I think that helped me. It helped me in other areas of my life because I didn't take everything so seriously. I wasn't so, you know, I didn't have to perfect everything. It was just, I could go do
Yes,
this thing and there we go.
yes, absolutely. Because perfectionism is the great killer of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And you're building confidence, as you said, by doing something new. And who cared how it went, really?
Yeah.
But it is true that when you do new things, regardless how it goes, it builds confidence that maybe if you did zip lining, which I haven't done, but I'm going to force myself to do, maybe if I do that, I will do something else different in my career, for example.
Right. Right. It
So
opens the horizons.
exactly. It's not just
Hmm.
the one thing. It's what it does in your entire psyche.
Yeah.
Open up
Yeah.
your own possibilities because you are not the person that you think you are.
Right.
You are the person that you've created, but there are a million other possibilities of you that have never that have never come simply because you didn't choose that particular path.
Right. And
There is no one you.
that is again, that to me is such a freeing concept. Like once we get that and understand that to me is so freeing. And one of the themes that I got throughout your book that I really, really liked is you talked a lot about, following different paths that maybe it doesn't seem like the right one, or maybe it looked like a mistake at the time or whatever it might be, but all those possibilities and opportunities that come up as a result of that. Like we don't like, I know, you know, let's say in my 20s and even probably early 30s, I felt like I had to be on this map that had to go straight, you know, straight line like this. And if you slightly deviate, well, the whole thing is going to come crumbling down, right? Which, as obviously, as I've gotten older, that's the exact opposite of how you want to live. But that freedom that comes with that, I really liked that theme. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how that showed up in your life?
Sure, because every time I thought I was going to take a straight path somewhere, it went to the opposite direction.
Right.
I mean, I thought I was going to live in this country for the rest of my life, and I left after 1 year. I thought I was going to live in this country for the rest of my life, and I ended up leaving after about 10 years. But there are no straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
Life is made up of just experiences.
Yeah.
Whether they fall together in a pattern is something we make
Right.
ourselves. There's
Right.
no such thing. As a friend of mine said to me yesterday, life is really like a whole box of puzzle pieces that get dumped on the floor. It's up to you to put the picture together, and it may take you long time, short time to put this part together, whatever. But there's no such thing as a straight line. A straight line to what? I
Right.
mean, you really want a straight line to the end of your life?
Right.
I don't think so. What makes life interesting is what you experience along the way. There is no straight line even to what you think you want, because
Right.
what you think you want changes.
Right. And we change. That was one thing I've
Hopefully.
really had to remind myself that, change is okay. I can change my mind. It's okay to change my mind, right? That's actually part of the experience. And that straight line, I think, I mean, it showed up in my life as like almost as if there's this. I just did a show about this, about how I felt like I had blinders on or something, because things I said I wanted in my life, which I didn't think I had, were actually already there. I just couldn't see them in that way. And so to me, it's like that straight line has always been like the line of my perceived perfection for something, or the line of like, you're never there. It's always this future point that you're always trying to get to, but you're never actually there. I was like, well, wait a minute. Here is there. Like here, where I am right now is there. I'm over it with trying to dangle the carrot out in front of myself as if it's always inaccessible for me. I'm like, I'm not living that life anymore. So that straight line or that perfection that wants to creep in. Yeah, that's not the way, that's not the life we want to live. I don't think.
No, and I'm so glad really that you discovered that early, because many people never discover that
Mm-hmm.
life there is here. I like that.
Right.
There
Right.
is here, and this putting this constant carrot in front. When I get there, everything will be. When
Yes.
I get there, there's always another when I get there.
Mm-hmm.
But the there is here, and life is made up of heres.
Yeah.
That's all you have. And if you're constantly living in a perceived there, you're missing everything, that you're missing your entire life.
Right. This
And
is the life.
this
Yeah.
is it. This
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah.
So it's not a scary thing, but it's an important thing
Yeah.
to realize that as early as possible. And for people to say, well, you really need to do this so you can,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is very dangerous.
It is. It is.
It's their
And
perception of your life, not your perception.
right. And you talk a lot about that in the book, about living other people's lives, or following paths because somebody else maybe couldn't follow that path, or had this idea of what your life should be. And that living is dangerous if you're living from someone else's desires or needs or expectations for you. It's not a good way to live.
Not at all. Not at
No.
all.
I want to go back to the fear element of this too, because fear is often, as we discussed in the beginning, that piece that gets in the way. And for whatever reason, we listen to it, right? We're very eager to listen to the fear and let it shut us down. And you shared a story in your book about a man who was auditioning for a symphony, I think, and he was very nervous. And right beforehand, his string broke on his instrument. And so he goes back and changes the string, and he's kind of in this state of like, he has a shift because he was so nervous. And you talk about how when he was getting ready for the audition, it's like he experienced the fear, but then he experienced like the fear of the fear. Like he was afraid of the fear, which adds another layer to the fear we're already experiencing. But what I really liked at the, like as his resolution, you talk about how he gave up his investment in fear. And we're all so invested in the fear as if it's the thing to be paid attention to, or the thing to the compass of our life. Well, my fear tells me I can't do it, so nope, I better not. Right. And the saying, everything you want is on the other side of fear. It sounds so cliche, but it is so true. It is so true.
This is really true. I think what he told me, when you've experienced your greatest fear within that certain situation,
Yeah.
it could be released. It already happened. He
Right.
was
And you
still alive.
survived.
He
Yeah, exactly.
survived,
Yes.
and it was over. I mean, the thing had happened. There was nothing to do but release it and go on without it.
Right.
And the moment that he decided to just go with the flow and go